Let's discuss about numericals, that is VTU problems on reheat Rankine cycle. So let me read the problem statement first. Let's understand the problem statement. Steam is supplied to a turbine at a pressure of 32 bar. That is, the steam at pressure of 32 bar is entering the turbine and its temperature is 410 degrees Celsius. Means the superheat temperature of the steam entering the turbine is 410 degree Celsius. It expands isentropically. So you know, in Rankine cycle the expansion is isentropic, that is reversible adiabatic process isentropically to a pressure of 0.08 bar. So this is condenser pressure, this is the condenser pressure 0.08 bar. So he is asking us to calculate what is the dryness fraction at the end of expansion, means the steam which comes out of the turbine. So what is the condition of the steam, means what is the dryness fraction, so how much dry it is. So he is asking, means we are supposed to calculate x2 value and we are also supposed to calculate thermal efficiency of the cycle. So this is the first part of the problem. Further, if you read the problem statement, calculate the modified exhaust condition. Modified means some modification he is doing. Exhaust condition means again the dryness fraction of the steam, and again we need to calculate thermal efficiency if the steam is reheated at 5.5 bar, means he is reheating the steam now. In earlier case, this first part of the problem, so there was no reheating. So now here reheating is being done. So what is the reheat pressure? He has given at 5.5 bar. So we need to reheat the steam. And again he mentions the temperature, up to what temperature he is reheating it. The temperature of 395 degrees Celsius, 395 degrees Celsius. So after reheating, he is sending the steam again into the turbine and allowing it to expand isentropically to a pressure of 0.08 bar. Means the whole problem is divided into two parts, that is the first part. Here this is the first part of the problem, so wherein there is no reheating at all, and here this is the second part, so where reheating is considered, and in both cases we are supposed to calculate the thermal efficiency as well as the dryness fraction of the steam which is coming out of the turbine. So let us write the given data for the problem. So here writing the problem, first we need to refer the schematic diagram or just remember the schematic diagram. At the turbine inlet, as he has mentioned in the problem statement, that the turbine inlet here the pressure is 32 bar. So the state 1 we have considered for our analysis, and P1 is 32 bar. So that we wrote the given data, and again temperature at the same point is 410 degrees Celsius. So I am considering the notation T suffix superheat 1 as 410 degrees Celsius to mention the inlet temperature to the turbine. So then again after that the condenser pressure also he has given. I will write it as a P2 as a 0.08 bar pressure, because here for the first part of the problem the turbine outlet the pressure is P2 and which is also equal to P3, because condenser is a isobaric process where pressure remains constant. So hence I can write it as a P2 is equal to 0.08 bar. So then he has asked us to calculate the dryness fraction, that is x2, the dryness fraction at the turbine outlet here, that is x2 is equal to question mark, and he has also asked us to calculate thermal efficiency of this cycle. And the problem is like just a simple Rankine cycle problem, first part is. So let us solve first the first part, then go ahead with the second part. So here before going to this first part solution, let us write the given data for part 2 also. So here the part 2 he has mentioned reheat cycle, it is a reheat cycle as we discussed in the problem statement. So in part 2 here P1 is 32 bar, so P1 is 32 bar and 410 degrees Celsius. After that the turbine the steam is undergoing expansion inside the turbine in the process 1 to 2. So after that it goes for reheating at 5.5 bar pressure, as he has mentioned. This is a 5.5 bar pressure line, and again at point 3, after reheating it to 395 degrees Celsius, again it undergoes expansion isentropically till state 4, that is 0.08 bar pressure. So here P1 is the boiler pressure, P2 is the reheat pressure, and P3 is the condenser pressure, and this is the corresponding schematic diagram that we have understood already in the theory. So from this discussion we can write P1 as 32 bar, T superheated 1 as 410 degrees Celsius, and P2, that is reheat pressure, as 5.5 bar, and P3 as condenser pressure. So here T superheat temperature I am writing, so that is at state 3. So I am writing it at T superheat 3 as 395 degrees Celsius. So again he is asking us to calculate the dryness fraction at turbine outlet. So the turbine outlet state is state 4 here. So therefore x4 is equal to question mark. So again we need to calculate the cycle efficiency of this reheat cycle in the part 2. So after understanding the problem statement and assigning the proper notations and understanding what need to be calculated, so let us go into the solution. So now here from the part 1, so from the part 1 data that we have already written here, so let us begin with the solution. So let me use the Mollier chart for the solution here. Here from you know that we are supposed to calculate the dryness fraction at x2 and thermal efficiency. So we know that the thermal efficiency is always given by turbine work minus pump work divided by heat supplied. So here we are neglecting the pump work, so as the pump work is negligible. So turbine work, you know the turbine work in this simple Rankine cycle is H1 minus H2, means I need enthalpy values at state 1 and state 2. So for getting that I will use the Mollier chart. So here first point H1 and H2 we need to calculate. For that I will have to refer the Mollier chart. So here turbine work I have written it as H1 minus H2, this is the formula. So I need the value of H1 and H2. Similarly I am also supposed to calculate heat supplied. So heat supplied is required for calculation of thermal efficiency. So here for heat supplied, we know that in the simple Rankine cycle heat is supplied between 4 to 1, So here and again 3 to 4 is a pumping process, so pump work is negligible. So almost the enthalpy at state 4 and enthalpy at state 3 both are equal. So if you refer the theory videos of mine in earlier videos, it is mentioned why HF4 and HF3 are same. So here again after that, if you wish to calculate get the value at enthalpy value at state 3, so we need to refer the steam table. So from steam table we can get the value. Now let us understand how to get the H1 and H2 values from the Mollier chart. So after getting Mollier chart, please identify the boiler pressure line, that is 32 bar pressure line on the Mollier chart, and the superheat temperature line, that is 410 degrees Celsius line. Wherever both intersect, you mark the point of intersection as point 1, that is state 1. Then you draw a horizontal line towards y axis, that is the enthalpy values on the Mollier chart. So I am able to get H1 value for this. After that, once I have marked the point 1, that is state 1 on Mollier chart, so I will draw a perfect vertical downward line, because 1 to 2 is a isentropic process. Isentropic process line is a vertical line on Mollier chart. So then again I know the condenser pressure. So what is the condenser pressure? Condenser pressure is 0.08 bar pressure. So I need to identify 0.08 bar pressure line on the Mollier chart, and the intersection of this vertical downward with 0.08 bar pressure, so that will give me the state point 2. So then again from 2, if you draw a line that is a horizontal line towards y axis, so I will be able to read H2 value, so that now I am able to calculate H1 and H2 from the Mollier chart. So from 2, if you want to know the dryness fraction, that is condition of the steam at state 2, so I have constant dryness fraction lines. Constant dryness fraction lines, you find out a line which matches to the state 2 and read the corresponding dryness fraction value. So if you read in this procedure, so x2 I will be able to calculate get the value as 0.83. So this is my answer. So now after reading these values, H1 I have got it as 3260 kilojoule per kg, and H2 I have got it as 2170 kilojoule per kg. So now after getting these values, let me calculate the turbine work. So that is turbine work I will substitute here, that is H1 as 3260 and H2 as 2170. So I will be able to calculate the turbine work as 1090 kilojoule per kg. So then after that the pump work is neglected or negligible, so WP I am keeping it as 0. Then again let us proceed with the heat supplied. So heat supplied, so how to write the formula? So from the chart we know that, or the schematic diagram, the heat supplied is in the boiler. So that is H1 minus HF4, H1 minus HF4. HF4 is the enthalpy at 0.08 bar pressure, because this pressure is same. So here HF at 0.08 bar pressure, so I can get it from the steam table. So first let me write the formula, that is heat supplied is Q1 is equal to H1, that is enthalpy at state 1, minus HF4. HF4 is nothing but HF at 0.08 bar. So here which is also equal, HF is also equal to HF3, HF4 is also equal to HF3, because it is a constant pressure line. So here for getting the value from the steam table, that is HF value, that is enthalpy of saturated liquid at 0.08 bar, so we need to refer the steam table. See in steam table, let us read the values now. This is the 0.08 bar saturation pressure line. Against that I have the HF values. I have the HF values. If I come downward along this, so I have the value as 173.9 kilojoule per kg. So this value we will use for our calculation. Now from the steam table we got the enthalpy of saturated liquid, that is HF at 0.08 bar as 173.9. So I am sorry it is disturbed there. I can approximate this as 174 kilojoule per kg. So substitute this value in this equation, that is heat supplied equation. H1 we have 3260, then again HF4 we have 174. So if I calculate the heat supplied value, operate the calculator, I will be able to get it as 3086 kilojoule per kg. So then again if you calculate the thermal efficiency, that is turbine work upon heat supplied. So I have 1090 as a turbine work and 3086 as a heat supplied. So I will be able to calculate the turbine thermal efficiency of the cycle as 35.32%. Now let us go ahead with the part 2, that is the Rankine cycle with reheating. See here, let me again tell about the brief overview of the solution. So we need to calculate the thermal efficiency. So that is thermal efficiency is again turbine work minus pump work upon heat supplied. So I need to calculate the turbine work and pump work. Pump work is negligible. So heat supplied I need to calculate. So therefore heat supplied for the cycle with reheating. Cycle with reheating is, this is the schematic diagram. So we supply heat twice in the reheating, as you know. So once is in for primary reheating, another one is primary heating as well as reheating. So there are two, algebraic sum of both is equal to Q1. So in the theory class we have already discussed it. So now here if you want to calculate the turbine work, so I need enthalpy values. These are the enthalpy values. So this is the formula from the theory discussion that we have done, and again these are the enthalpy values which are required for calculation of heat supplied. So now how to obtain enthalpy values with a reheat cycle using molar diagram? Let's understand the procedure first. So this is the procedure that I have written steps to be followed to get the enthalpy values from the molar chart. So I will be explaining it. See here on the molar chart we have enthalpy values on y axis, entropy values on x axis, you already know it. So then this is the saturated liquid line, and we have to mark the first point 1 on the molar chart, so that I will be able to get the H1 value. So for marking state point 1, what I have mentioned here, for marking point 1 at pressure 32 bar and temperature 410 degrees Celsius on HS diagram, mark the point 1. So that is, I need to identify 32 bar pressure line on molar chart, and again I need to identify 410 degree Celsius temperature line. So wherever both intersect, I need to write state point 1. So this is the state point 1 that we have marked on this. So after that the steam undergoes isentropic expansion. So vertical straight downward line should be drawn until it cuts the reheat pressure line. So what is the reheat pressure line? So reheat pressure line is 5.5 bar pressure line. So I need to identify that pressure line on the molar chart, and I need to draw a perfect vertically downward. So wherever both intersect, I will write this as a state point 2. This is how I mark the state point 2. So after that during reheating the pressure remains constant. So therefore along 5.5 by pressure line only I need to move upward. So till it cuts the reheat temperature line, that is 395 degrees Celsius line, it cuts. So the intersection of 395 degrees Celsius line as well as the reheat pressure line, so both will give me the state point 3. So here from state point 3 again it is the inlet of second turbine in the reheat cycle. It undergoes isentropic expansion. So 3 to 4, so I am drawing a perfect vertical line downward. So till it cuts the condenser pressure line 0.08 bar pressure line. So therefore I will mark state point 4. So at state nearer to the state point 4 I have constant dryness friction lines. So identify the value of these lines at state 4, and I am able to calculate the dryness friction of the steam which is coming out of the turbine stage 2. So this is the procedure which is mentioned with these statements. You please follow these statements, you will be able to mark the points properly on the molar chart. Now this is the molar chart that we need to refer and follow the steps that we have discussed so far. So first point, state point 1 is to be marked on this. So I will read the pressure lines here. These are the pressure lines. I have 30 bar pressure line here and I have 40 bar pressure line. So I am not able to find 32 bar pressure line. So I need to identify the divisions in between these two lines, and approximately I have to draw a 32 bar pressure line and I have to move downward. So till it cuts the superheat temperature of 410 degrees Celsius. So now I am moving downward. So along this line, now I am moving downward. So after moving, so I have a constant temperature line that is 400 degrees Celsius. Again 410 is not available. So just based upon this distance, count the divisions and identify a 410 degrees Celsius constant temperature line on this. Wherever both intersects, so we need to mark that as a point 1. So here this is our point 1, that state 1 that we have indicated. So then again from this point I will draw a perfect horizontal line towards y axis, wherein I am able to measure the enthalpy value in kilojoule per kg, that is the H1 value. So then again once I have indicated the state point 1 on this Mollier chart, so I need to draw a perfect vertical line downward, so till it cuts 5.5 bar pressure line. So now let us identify the 5.5 bar pressure line on this Mollier chart. So if you scroll it down, so I have the 5 bar pressure line. See here, this is 5 bar pressure line and this is 6 bar pressure line. So I do not have a 5.5 bar pressure line. So hence in the middle I will assume that this is 5.5 bar pressure line, then I will move downward along these two lines. So now let us move in between these two lines. So if you move, so you will be able to get a vertical line from this. This is the state point 2 that we have marked. So this is the vertical line that we had already marked. From this state point 2, so we need to draw a vertical or horizontal line to get the value of H2. So after that again, so I need to move along this line in upward direction. So till it cuts 395 degrees Celsius temperature line, 395 degrees Celsius temperature line, so that see I am able to get state point 3 here. From the state point 3 I will be able to get H3 value. From 3 again I need to draw a perfect vertical line downward. From 3 I need to draw perfect vertical line downward. So till it cuts 0.08 pressure line. So again 0.08 pressure line is not available here. So this is 0.05 pressure line, this is 0.1 pressure line. So in between that, so I assume that this is 0.08 pressure line. So already vertical downward line is coming from the state 3. So this is our state point 4. So here from this 4, if I read the dryness fraction values, so these are the dryness fraction values. So here I have 0.90, 0.91, 0.92, 0.93, 0.94, this is 0.95. So our point is lying on 0.93. So I will consider dryness fraction as 0.935. Now after following the procedure that we discussed so far, so we will get the enthalpy values as H1 as 3260 kilojoule per kg, H2 as 2810, then again H3 as 3260, then X4 0.935 we have understood, then H4 as 2430 kilojoule per kg. So after obtaining all these values, let us calculate the thermal efficiency of the reheat cycle. So now thermal efficiency is here we have this is the formula that we know already. Out of this let us calculate the turbine work. So turbine work is here for the reheat cycle, from the theory we know that it is the turbine work of first turbine plus the turbine work of second turbine. The first turbine expands between 1 to 2. So, we know that 1 to 2 is the turbine expansion for the first turbine, and 3 to 4 is the turbine expansion for second turbine. So, therefore, H1 minus H2 is the WT1, H3 minus H4 is the WT2. So, now here, so therefore, the turbine work is H1 minus H2 plus H3 minus H4, and we have all the enthalpy values. Let us substitute the enthalpy values so that I am able to calculate the turbine work. So, here I have H1, so I will substitute H1 3260, and again H2 I have 2810, I have substituted here. So, then again H3 we have 3260 again. So, then again H4 2430. So, we substituted all the 4 values. So, then again the turbine work, so after operating the calculator, so I will be able to get the turbine work as 1280 kilojoule per kg. So, friends, then again the pump work, so we have neglected, so hence I am considering it as a WP is equal to 0. So, let us calculate the heat supplied in the reheat cycle. So, in the reheat cycle we know that, so we supply the heat in 2 processes. So, that is first process is between 6 and 1, that is primary heat supply, and second process is during reheating process. So, hence we write the formula as H1 minus HF6, which is also equal to HF5. H1 minus HF5 can be written for Q primary. So, then again here for Q reheat, so this is nothing but enthalpy at state 3 minus enthalpy at state 2. So, from the theory we know all these points, it is just review for you. So, here again heat supplied is Q1, we have used the notation Q1. So, that is Q primary plus Q reheat. So, we discussed just now H1 minus HF5 it is, and again this is H3 minus H2. So, I can write HF5 is equal to HF4. So, in the theory videos we have already understood it. So, why HF5 is equal to HF4? So, we can consider that. Then again H3 minus H2. Then again I substitute all the enthalpy values that we have obtained from the Mollier chart. So, these are the enthalpy values that we have obtained from the Mollier chart, and I will substitute them. And also we know the value of HF4. So, we know the value of HF4 from the steam tables. In the part 1 of this solution we have already understood that, and I have substituted it as 174. So, then again if you operate the calculator, so I am able to get the heat supplied value as 3536 kilojoule per kg. So, then again we are remained with the thermal efficiency, last step of the problem, that is thermal efficiency is turbine work upon heat supplied. So, turbine work was 1280, I have substituted here. Then again heat supplied is 3536, I have substituted here. So, finally the thermal efficiency with reheating is 36.19% for the plant. So, earlier without reheating it was 35.32, now here we have 36.19. So, there is an increase in the thermal efficiency because of reheat. Let us understand one more problem on reheat cycle. It is a VTU problem, that is for 10 marks, it has appeared in 2017. So, here in a reheat cycle, let me read the problem statement. In a reheat cycle, the initial steam pressure and the maximum temperature R, that is at the turbine inlet the steam pressure is 150 bar and temperature is 550 degrees Celsius, and it is in superheated condition. So, that is 550 degrees Celsius it is given. So, then again if condenser pressure is 0.1 bar, so condenser pressure he has given it as 0.1 bar, and the moisture at the condenser inlet is 5%, means moisture at the condenser inlet is 5%, that is condenser inlet. From the schematic diagram, if you know, this is the condenser inlet, here we have condenser. So, at the condenser inlet the moisture can be written it as X4. So, X4 he has given it as 0.95. So, here moisture means wetness is 5%. So, 95% it is dry. So, therefore, X4 I am writing it as 0.95. So then again, assuming ideal processes, determine what all we need to calculate. So reheat pressure. So at what pressure reheating is happening in this cycle, and the efficiency of this cycle. So then again, steam rate means at what rate the steam flow is happening inside the plant, that is this reheating the plant. So here this is the schematic diagram that I have already drawn. This is the schematic diagram. This we know already from the theory part. Here inlet to the turbine is 1, outlet of the turbine 2, and again it is going for reheating. So 2 to 3 reheating. So then again 3 to 4 expansion. So 4 to 4 is condenser inlet. So 4 to 5 is condensation. So 5 to 6 is pumping. So 6 to 1 again. So here we know that is between 1 and 6 primary heat is supplied, between 2 and 3 reheat heat is supplied inside the boiler. The algebraic sum of both is Q1, that is total heat supplied. So corresponding enthalpy entropy diagram we know from the theory. So this is the saturated vapor line, and this is boiler pressure line, that is 150 bar pressure, and again we have 550 degree Celsius at the turbine. Wherever both intersect we have marked it as a 0.1. So on y axis I can read H1 that is enthalpy value. So then again after that from once I have marked the state 1, so if I draw a vertical line, so I don't have I don't know where to stop this vertical downward line, because he has not given the reheat pressure line. So I will stop at this point, and after that I will check the given data. So that is one more given data is the enthalpy at the outlet of the dryness fraction at the outlet of the turbine, that is x4 he has given, and again he has given condenser pressure. So condenser pressure is 0.1 bar and dryness fraction is 0.95. So I will use both of these data to mark it on the Mollier chart. So on the Mollier chart I have the constant dryness fraction line, that is 0.95, and again I have the condenser pressure line 0.1 bar. Wherever both intersect, so I can mark this as a 0.4, that is state 4. So from state 4 I can draw a vertical upward line, because 3 to 4 is isentropic process line, but I do not know where to stop this line, at what point I need to stop this. So since the problem statement does not involve the temperature of the steam after reheating, so I will assume it as a 550 degree Celsius only. So that is a 550 degree Celsius constant temperature line is there. So wherever this vertical upward line and 550 degree Celsius line both intersects, I can mark this as a state point 3. So once I get the state point 3, then I have to get state point 2 on this Mollier diagram. So that is state I will move along this constant pressure line, that is P2 pressure line. So I can read P2 pressure line on the Mollier chart. After that, so if I move downward until it cuts the vertical downward that I had drawn for the process 1 to 2, so I can get the state point 2 here, state point 2. So thus I am able to represent the reheat cycle on the Mollier chart. So I am able to get the enthalpy values H1, H2, H3, H4 from the y axis for the present problem, and this is the given data that I have written with the notations meeting schematic diagram as well as HS diagram, and the same procedure that I discussed so far is mentioned in this steps, and according to the steps we will be able to get P2 as a 13 bar pressure. So this is the chart that I have used for getting the values. So here I have the state point 1, so I am able to get H1 here. This is the state point 3 that I am able to mark. Then again this is the vertical line that we have drawn in upward direction, and this is the 13 bar pressure line, and wherever both have intersected this is state point 2. So this is 2, this is 1, this is 3, this is 4. So this is I am sorry, this is downward, this is upward, and again here it is downward. So this is how we represent. Then again x4, here it is x4 and 0.1 pressure line, wherever both had intersected, this was the state point 4. So after obtaining the values by following the procedure that is mentioned, we have the values H1 and H2 2800, H3, then H4 we have the values, then HFI, HF4 from the steam table we can get HF at 0.1 bar as 191.8 kilojoule per kg. So now we are supposed to calculate the thermal efficiency for this problem. So the cycle efficiency, we know that it is the net work upon heat supplied, so that is turbine work minus pump work upon Q1. So WP is negligible, so WP I will let it as 0. So then turbine work is, you know, it is the sum of the two stages involved. So first stage is between 1 and 2, second stage is between 3 and 4. So I will substitute the enthalpy values that I have obtained from the Mollier chart. So these are the values that I have substituted. So after that I am able to calculate the turbine work as 1770 kilojoule per kg. So similarly, so I want heat supplied also to calculate the thermal efficiency. So in the reheat cycle we already know heat supplied Q1 is Q primary plus Q reheat. So Q primary is happening between 1 and 5, that is H1 minus HF5, and again reheat is happening between 3 and 2, that is H3 minus H2. So it is very clear from the schematic diagram. So here we are adding between 1 and 6 we are adding Q primary. So HF6 is equal to HF5, so we know from the theory discussion, and again between 2 and 3, that is 3 and 2, here we are supplying Q reheat. So here coming to our discussion, that is we will substitute the enthalpy values in this formula that have been obtained by us from the Mollier chart. So here we are substituting in this formula. So after that, so we are able to get the enthalpy values, that is heat supplied as 4048.2 kilojoule per kg. So finally the thermal efficiency with reheating, that is net work is 1770 and heat supplied is 4048.2. So after that I am able to calculate the thermal efficiency as 43.73, that is reheat cycle efficiency. So this is the required answer. After that we need to calculate the specific steam consumption, that is steam rate 3600 divided by W net. This is the formula that we already know. So in this I will substitute the net work, that is turbine work 1770, that is calculated in the above steps, and here I am able to calculate it as 2.033 kg per kilowatt hour. The difference between the earlier problem and this problem was, so here he had given the dryness fraction, that is the dryness fraction he had given, that is x4 0.95 and the condenser pressure. So we got state 4 marked here first, then state 1 we marked here. We moved in the downward direction from state 1, in the upward direction from the state 4, and we followed the procedure to fix the state 3 as well as state 2, and we were able to calculate this one. So this is the change that we must remember, and please follow the procedure that is mentioned here. Sit with the patience with the Mollier diagram and mark all the points and get all the enthalpy values, and you can be able to solve this problem. So thank you. For any doubts you can please contact me.